What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Trey Sense, and we got a little bit of a review, a little bit of a discussion. You know how we do it here on the channel. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fragrances that I have gotten stupid compliments from. So I call these home wreckers. I call these fragrances home wreckers because they will absolutely wreck your home. Now listen, we are this close to 4K. 4,000 subs, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. Your sub may be the one to put me over the top, to put me over the 4,000 sub mark. It's a small milestone, but it's my milestone, and I want to get it. All right. So be sure to like this video, share this video, and sub to the channel, and be active in the comment section. I love the check-in. I love y'all checking in and telling me where y'all from, man. We got folks in Chicago. We got folks everywhere checking in, baby. DC checking in. Hey, now listen, I know I got some folks out in Texas. Where my Texas people at? Where my Arkansas people at? Where my Missouri people at? You know, where y'all at, y'all? Where my Mississippi people at? I know I got some Mississippians watching these videos. Y'all check in and let your boy know where you at, okay? All right. My Memphis people checked in with me. All right, let's go. Where do I start? Let's start here. And I'd like to wish this person a happy birthday. The owner and proprietor of Sensual Obsessions, Kevin Holt, just had a happy birthday. So y'all go to Facebook and wish Kevin a happy birthday. This is one of Kevin's dopest creations, and every time I wear this fragrance, I laugh because it is a super home wrecking fragrance. I had a young lady that I have known for many years. I'm 48, and middle school at least, sniff me and growl at me. Her exact words were, "Ooh, somebody smell good." And then she looked at me, "Is that you smelling like that?" I said, "Ain't nobody else standing here." And she said, "Rawr." The fragrance that I had on was from Sensual Obsessions, and it is Gourmand Delight, and that is still just funny to me. And this thing is a sweet, slightly spicy, gourmandy type of fragrance. Will put you in the mind of maybe Leighton from Parfums de Nuit. Will put you in the mind of that. Maybe Ojan from Parfums de Nuit. It has that type of vibe, that sweet, that apple pie, that gourmand, that spicy, but she went, "Rawr, rawr." I said, "Okay, then, get a little cooler." I said, "A little stank of bolder." I was like, you know. But it was funny to me then, and it's funny to me now. And Kevin and I joke about that from time to time. I told him, I said, "You should name this fragrance Home Wrecker," as that's exactly what this is. This is a home wrecking fragrance. Do not wear Gourmand Delight from Sensual Obsessions unless you want to be followed home and growled at by young black women. Because if you do, this is the fragrance for you. From the house of Sensual Obsessions, it is Gourmand Delight. This next one, and you can go with the EDT, you can go with the EDP, which this is, or you can go with the Parfum from the house of Dior. And I tell you all the time, don't bore her, Dior her. And it is Dior Sauvage, the Eau de Parfum. Now, for whatever reason, women love this fragrance. I like it. I'm not just blown away by it. I don't wear it an awful lot because of its popularity, and at least throughout the South and Alabama, this is one of the most asked about fragrances when people are talking to me about fragrances, other than Creative Ventus and Baccarat Rouge 540. The next on the list would be Savage. They always want to know, you got that Savage? That Sauvage? They're like, yeah, I have Savage. I have it. I was at a business, had to do some paperwork. Young lady walked by, She walked by again. About the third time she walked by, and it was just the three of us in the office. Huge office. It must have been close to lunchtime. She finally, on the third time, she stopped. She looked dead at me and she said, I don't know what you have on, but whatever it is, it smells amazing, and you got this whole office smelling good. Projection Monster Dior Sauvage EDP. Not the Parfum, but the EDP. I have the EDT, the EDP, the Parfum, and I have a decant of the Elixir. So, but I like this one. I think it's the more versatile. The Parfum is a little bit smoother. The EDT projects a little bit better. Imagine that if you need it. This one is just right there in the middle. So I find myself reaching for this one as my levels are right there, but it doesn't take but 2 or 3 sprays of this and you are good. I don't wear it a lot, again, because it is one of the most worn fragrances in Fragcom. Everybody knows about Sauvage, and I don't wear it that much, but nonetheless, it is still a great smelling fragrance, and it is from the house of Don't Bore Her, Dior Her. It is Sauvage. This next one, man, 2 different occasions I had this one on, and it caused them to cut up and act stupid. From the house of, rest in peace, Mr. E.J. Wells. It is Happy Land Studios, and it is Blue Fire, and that's where the levels are on this Blue Fire right there. My mom was in the hospital. This stuff just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. This stuff has now reached the level of strong. If you're from the South, you understand the difference in being strong and being strong. This stuff is strong. Gourmandy, sweet blue, a little bit of a coffee note in there, but beautiful scent. And this stuff stays on forever. But I went to the hospital to see my mom, and they had switched her room. So I had to ask the lady at the desk at the end of the hall, at the little nursing station, what room is Miss Belafonte in? And when I got to the window, she had her head down doing paperwork, and I said, yes, ma'am, can you tell me what room Miss Sullivan is in? She raised her head up, looked at me and said, what are you wearing? What is that you have on? Oh my God, it smells so good. And I was just like, okay. I said, and I tried to explain to her what it was, and she was like, that is so good. That smells so good. And then she turns to the young lady that's working next to her and was like, oh, you got to smell him. He smells so good, and I told him he smelled good. Was I wrong? I said, no, you're just fine, man. But what room is my mom in? So they told me, and I went down there. I had to go back down the hall for something else, and they just were all cackling and cutting up over Blue Fire. This stuff right here is it's great. Next situation with this one that just had me giggling. When, those of you who've been around my channel for a while, when I started my channel, I was married, went through a divorce. I'm still kicking, I'm still at it. When my wife decided that she wanted a divorce, of course, like most people, I was a little shook up. It was hard, so I needed some time. So I went and just rented me a hotel room. Went, about an hour and a half away, just got me a hotel room just to get away. Just so I could get all the crying, all of whatever I needed to do out my system by myself, whatever. I was in the hotel room. I was in the elevator of the hotel, and one of the cleaning ladies was, she got on the elevator with me, and she just kept, looking at me and staring at me and just looking, and she kept making, and then she said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to stare at you, but you have the most beautiful eyes. And I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. She's like, and that cologne that you're wearing, she's like, that stuff smells so good. She said, what is it? That's the question everybody wants to know. What is it? And that's why I like wearing certain fragrances, because they're different. And this is just different. This is a different type of scent. You get just a hint of that coffee mixed in with that sweet and broad. It's just good. It's just good. And it doesn't take but a squirt or two of this and you are good, and you are good all day long. But I told her what it was, and it was, you know, I couldn't help but chuckle because she was just staring at me and sniffing. I'm just like, okay, you know, this is all right. You know, I'm thinking single life ain't gonna really be that bad. It's not gonna, I'm gonna make it, you know what I'm saying? So for the House of Happy Land Studios, it is Blue Fire. Man, I don't know if they still sell this one or not. I hope they do. If they do, this next one, again, I was at work, and this one surprised me, and it's gonna surprise you too. I was at work, and a young lady comes through my line, and she sniffs herself. She looks at the I was helping bag. She sniffs herself. She looks at the cashier and goes, "Whew, man, somebody smell good." She's like, "I know that ain't me. I sprayed mine on this morning." And the cashier, of course, is looking like, and then she looks and goes, as everybody always does, it's probably him. So, you know, I wasn't saying nothing because I really didn't think that much about it. And then she goes, "Is that you?" She walked over to me and leaned in and sniffed. She said, "Oh my God." And she pulled the Jeepers Creepers on me. She, from the house of Vince Camuto, it is Vince Camuto Black. And I never in a million years thought this fragrance would get that kind of compliment and reaction. I think I've seen this Vince Camuto line at the rack stores for like $15, $16, $17. Whether it was the black, the orange, the blue, the white, which they all have different names. I just call this one black. In the beginning, you get a blast of alcohol that dissipates really, really quickly. Really quickly. I'm talking about within 3 to 5 seconds, the alcohol blast is gone. And then what you're left with is this resinous, sweet, sort of smoky, almost burnt sort of smell, but it just works. It just works. And after she paid for her groceries and I continued to put them in the buggy, I mean, she got all up in here. And this lady is a regular customer. I see her at least 3 times a week, all up in here sniffing. And I was just, you know, standing there like, and people are, you know, my coworkers are looking at me like, and I'm just like, this happens all the time. Like, you know, I'm Trey Sands. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It happens all the time. That does smell good. Did I expect it to happen with this? No. But again, this fragrance right here hipped me to one thing. It doesn't have to be expensive or overcomplicated or complex to get women's attention and to get you compliments. Some of the most basic fragrances I have are some of the most complimented fragrances that I have. Yes, I've gotten compliments from some of these like Gourmand Delight, which is complex, and Blue Fire, which is complex, and you know, Sauvage is a little complex. But when I put on these basic scents, other than oud fragrances, and I had some oud fragrances, but since I just did the oud video, I did not put any of the oud fragrances in here, and I did not put every fragrance that I got a crazy compliment. I left some of them out because I didn't want the video to go on too long. But Vince Camuto's Black got me sniffed on the job in front of everybody. This next one is from the house of Acqua di Gio. No, I do that every time. It's from the house of Giorgio Armani. It's from the line of Acqua di Gio. I do that every single time. And this is none other than Profondo. None other than Profondo. And the compliment I got from this one was, how did the lady word it? She said, "I just smelled pretty." She said, "You smell really, really nice and really pretty. What is that you have on? And I told her. And she, of course, was like, I'm going to have to get my husband and my son some of that. And I was just like, okay. You do that. But that's what she said. She said that I smelled pretty. And I was just like, okay, I don't think I've ever been told that before. And I get what she was saying, because you get a little bit of the original Acqua di Gio DNA in there, and it's just a little bit more spicy, but at the same time, it still has that mass appeal, that slightly aquatic mass appeal, but it's a lot darker, a lot richer. And it just smells nice. It just comes across so confident. This is, to me, one of the most confidence-invoking fragrances that I have. But the only fragrance that I've ever worn that I've been told that I smelled pretty, I've been told that I smelled delicious before. That's one, and that was Jimmy Choo, Man Blue. But this one right here was told I smelled pretty. What I think she meant was I smelled professional. That's just my interpretation of it. Is that I think that's what I think. I think she meant I smelled pretty. So, from the house of Giorgio Armani, it is Acqua di Gio's Profondo. This next one, it made a believer out of me on more than one occasion for more than one reason, as I had heard the hype and I was just like, can't be that good. But it is from the house of Armaf. It is Club de Nuit Men Intense. Several encounters with this fragrance. Again, there's a young lady that wears this to work. She smells good, and she smells good the entire time that she works, and when she walks by, you can smell this fragrance. Every time she moves, she can smell this fragrance. But I wore this to work one night, and I stopped by the local Dollar Tree to get me something to drink, because the drinks are cheaper there than where I work. A young lady stopped dead in her tracks, turned around and goes, "Oh my, you smell so good. What is that you're wearing?" And I told her, she said, "I'm sorry." She said, "I guess that was rude, wasn't it?" I said, "No, ma'am." So, no, ma'am, I appreciate the compliment. It wasn't rude at all. I only have one complaint. You don't do a black atomizer. You got to put something there for us blind people. Now, here's the thing about this fragrance. Is that blue flame is cutting up and just overshadowing everything. To smell it like that, like I just did, doesn't do this fragrance justice. It just doesn't. To spray it on your skin and then it doesn't do it justice. You're too close to it. It's going to come off a little bit harsh, and you're going to compare it to the original Aventus, and it's nowhere near as refined and nowhere near as smooth. But in the air, you can't tell a difference. You can't, and women love it. In fact, if I'm being 100% honest, I've gotten more compliments from this than when I wear my Creed Aventus. Funny story, a gentleman came in the store the other day and I asked him, I said, because I mean, you could smell him all down the aisle, and when he left, you could smell it. I asked him, I said, which makes me think this is what he had on. I said, what kind of cologne is that you got on? And he goes, kind of chuckled. He said, it's Aventus. He said, it's Creed. No, that's what he said. He said, it's Creed. I said, which Creed? Because it smelled like Viking in the air. I said, which Creed? Viking? He said, no. He said, it's Aventus. I said, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, it's about $300 or $400 a bottle. I looked at him and I said, yeah, I know. I got a bottle. And he said, okay. He said, have you tried that Baccarat 540? And I'm just like, here we go with this shit again. There we go. Here we go. I don't know what it is about Atlanteans and Alabamians that want Baccarat 540 every time they leave the crib. But my point is, I've smelled this in the air off of an individual, and I've smelled allegedly Creed Aventus in the air off of an individual. And when I smelled it, my first thought was he smells good. Never would I have thought it was Creed Aventus because it had sort of more of a barbershop smell. I guess he had a very birchy batch. And never one time did I think, oh, that's a $500 or $600 fragrance that he's got on. Not one time. Not one time. And I'm not saying that to get you to go buy Blue Flame or something from Sensual Obsessions or something from Dapper. I'm just telling you that in the air, nobody is going to think, oh, that person is wearing a $600 or $700 fragrance that I need to get. They're just going to think you smell good or you don't. And in the air, this smelled just as good, if not a tad bit better. This is odd coming from me. They were both extremely strong, but the Aventus, the one he said was Aventus, was a little bit too strong. And the only reason I'm questioning what fragrance he had on is because this is not a diss, this is just an observation. He was dressed like he just came from work. So I'm thinking, who in the hell wears Aventus to work? And I don't mean he was in an office type outfit. I mean, he just had on a t-shirt and a pair of jeans, which is perfectly fine. But I'm just saying it didn't equate to accuracy, if you know what I'm saying. So, it may have been this. I mean, it may have been alt. I don't know what it was. It may have been Aventus, but he's wasting it if he did, because to wear that to the grocery store is just ridiculous. But I digress. And this may be a little bit better in the air than the newer batches of Aventus. I had to quickly point out to him, say, yeah, I got an old bottle, bro. I don't wear my old bottles. Since he had I didn't know what Aventus, he gonna chuckle, it's Creed. Man, you don't get your ass. You don't get your. This next fragrance is from the house of Genre, and it is one of my favorite fragrances. The name alone, to me, is just crazy, and I love it. I love it because the name to me represents every frag head, and it represents how we feel when we got on a fragrance that we know smells good. From the house of Genre, best name in Fragcom, Run After My Car. Run After My Car. Now, I haven't received a compliment that's crazy on this one, but I think if I wore it enough, I would, because it gives me an Aventus mixed with Elysium type vibe, and I have received some crazy compliments from Elysium. Even I wore that to church one day, and sitting in the car with my ex-wife, she looked me dead in my face and said, I don't know what you got on, but that shit smell good. And when we get home, I want the business. So she got the business. And that was Elysium. And I have a few Scentbird decants of Elysium. And this reminds me a lot of Elysium. I'm smelling really good up in here now, because that blue fire is not backing down. It is strong. And so is, well, they're all holding their own. And this right here, again, for an inexpensive fragrance, this is drying down to a smooth, nice, woody fragrance, which so many people love. But this right here reminds me of a mix of Elysium and Creed Aventus. I'm not saying that that's what the people over at Genre had in mind when they made this, but that's what I get from Run After My Car. And I've only worn this one time, so I didn't get any, major compliments from it. I think I got told I smell nice. I honestly don't remember, but I can't see this scent profile missing. And that's why I put it on the list. I just feel like this one, the more times I wear it, I think it's going to be a home wrecker rubber fragrance. Shout out to my boy, the Kansas City Chief cheerleader, Lamar Gaston, for putting this in my life. Thank you, Lamar. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, big bro. And JP, shout out to you for the Club de Nuit, man. Intense. Yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. There's 7 fragrances from my collection that I don't think you should wear unless you're looking to destroy your home or somebody else's home. You know, because if you spray these on, she ain't gonna leave you alone, I promise you. Now, with that being said, I'm fixing to get off, edit it, get it up so you can see it. Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's gotten through the week fine. We're getting closer to football season. That's one good thing. So, yeah. Please be sure to like the video. And if you will, share the video. And definitely check in and let me know where you're watching my videos from. All right, guys. I love you all, and may God bless you all. And until next time, guys, peace.